Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is the Cartoon Man 13 here, and welcome to my very first episode of Redbox Rentals, where I basically just rent movies from the Redbox, watch them, and then give you my reviews on the films. And I've rented movies from Redbox. I remember I started renting movies from there, I think back in 2011 or 2012. I love seeing movies that I haven't seen before, depending on not whether the movie's good or bad or not. So yeah, welcome to my very first episode of Redbox Rentals here on Cartoon Man Films, in which 3 films that I want to see. 2 of them Uncle Stan rented, 1 of them I rented, but I had interest in seeing all 3 of them, so it's going to take me a while before I film the review portion of the episode. In which, yeah, anyways, the 2 movies that my Uncle Stan rented that I also had interest in seeing as well are, Tammy, which is a comedy with Melissa McCarthy, and The Fluffy Movie is another one. I had interest in seeing both of those movies as well, so I'm kind of glad that Uncle Stan rented those 2. And the one that I decided to rent for myself, I've been hearing a lot of negative things about this film, but I still do want to see the film anyways, because I've seen the first 2 films of this franchise, and that is, of course, Expendables 3. Since I had already seen these 2 films, I like both of them. They're both good action films for what they were. They're both good in their own right, basically. I enjoy both of them. So I do plan on giving this one a watch, even though they toned it down to PG-13. Unlike these 2 are rated R, they were R-rated fun action films. This one's PG-13, and of course, Stallone wanted to reach a more broader audience with this film. So, yeah, all 3 of these films I have interest in seeing. And these 3 will be my first episode of Redbox Rentals. And I will see you for the review portion of the video. So yeah, check back for that and stay tuned, why don't ya? Hey folks. Now, this will be the review portion of my very first episode of Redbox Rentals. The first movie I watched was Tammy, starring Melissa McCarthy. And I thought it was a pretty funny movie. It's about this girl named Tammy, who's played by Melissa McCarthy, who goes to Niagara Falls with her grandmother. And giving you some, I'm pretty sure there's spoilers in there, but you know, I saw the film. I'm probably going to spoil some things while I review these movies. Like the opening scene in Tammy when, Tammy, of course, Melissa McCarthy's character, accidentally kills the deer, and then arriving at the job that she worked at, then she gets fired and contaminates all that other stuff. And of course, another scene that I remember is when the grandma of Tammy goes into the store and she drinks beer, and then the employee tells her not to, and then we come up with this young boy and this young girl who carried beer, and then all of a sudden the police show up and the young boy and girl get away. Melissa McCarthy's character throws like a beer can at the police car, and they get arrested. And in order for her grandma to get out of jail, she has to steal the money from the place that she worked at. I thought that was pretty funny. And of course, she got out before, and of course, the news reporters were talking about it. And of course, she gave the money back to them. I thought that scene was pretty cool. And the scene towards the end when the grandma is actually at this like retirement home after, okay, earlier before that she actually got knocked out. Tammy and them thought they were dead until they realized she was just knocked out, and she was drunk, she didn't take her diabetes pills, so she was at the hospital. That was until they put her at the retirement home. And of course, Melissa McCarthy's character finds out that, she's at the retirement hospital, so they just grab her. And of course, they take her to Niagara Falls at the very end of the movie. Overall, my final thoughts on the film: it's a good movie. I liked it. It was funny in some parts. My overall rating of the film, I would say, is maybe a 7 out of 10. It's definitely worth looking. And the next episode, well, the next film I'm going to cover is the Fluffy movie. Now, the Fluffy movie is basically a stand-up comedy act from Gabriel Iglesias. Now, I do like Gabriel Iglesias. In fact, I saw him in person one time. And it was fun seeing him, so when I heard they were making a movie on Gabriel Iglesias, I figured, you know what, why not? His stand-up acts were funny. He talked about being in an obese center, and he talked about his family. He made fun of India. He just made some jokes that instantly cracked me up. He talked about, like his family and such. And there is an opening skit of the film in which, of course, they were acting, of course. But, that's when Gabriel Iglesias' mom first meets his dad. And, they give birth to him, and we see Gabriel Iglesias as a child. He was about ready to enter this adults only 18 plus thing. But then some guy comes in and, tells him not to. At least I think so. And he wanted to rent that Eddie Murphy Raw movie. He sneakily rented the movie and put it in disguise as like a kid's movie, and of course she says yes, and then of course. So he was still able to see Eddie Murphy's Raw, and that inspired him to be a comedian. And there's an after credits scene at the end of the film, in which, his mom was all like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And he's like, he has this face. He's like, "Orale," or "Iole," or whatever. But the whole movie was basically, other than those two skits, one at the beginning of the film, one after the credits, the whole film is a stand-up act. And he also talks about his fans and stuff. Overall, I give this film maybe since the whole movie was like a stand-up act, I'd give it a 7 out of 10 as well. It was a pretty funny movie. You should check it out sometime. It was definitely worth it. And oh my gosh, this last movie was just a total total disappointment. The Expendables 3. The movie was just a total disappointment. I did not like it at all. Basically, the whole thing about the movie is for the Expendables 3. It's about, Stallone and the gang, they rescue Wesley Snipes' character, and then they encounter Stonebanks, who's played by Mel Gibson. And of course, after a failed attempt to kill Stonebanks, Stallone's like, "Oh, screw you, we're just gonna break up the team." Oh, come on, man. I want to see the Expendables. I wanted to see them. And of course, you hire these new losers that I don't care about. Come on, I want to see the old Expendables do their thing. 50 minutes without the Expendables. From what I heard, yes, they were right. There's barely any action in the film, which is disappointing. And overall, I have to give this film maybe a 2 out of 10 because, the action scenes were boring. These new losers that I don't care about. 2 out of 10, some of the performances were really good, but other than that, the film was just a total thumbs down for me. So yeah, Tammy and the Fluffy movie were good. Expendables 3 was not. So overall, that was my very first episode of Redbox Reactions. If you like this video, then you can subscribe to me, comment, tell me what you think about the video. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. So yeah, take care everybody. And so long everybody.